This is a great question. So to answer this, we have to go over the categorization of CVC. So central venous catheters. Those are catheter tips that end at the inferior vena cava for the mid-thighs, the superior vena cava, and the possibly even right atrium for the dialysis catheters. So you have your IJ approach, your subclavian axillary approach, and your mid-thigh, and of course your brachial or basilic cephalic approach for your PICC lines. So in the 1950s, a man by the name of Sven Seldinger created a technique to catheterize all the way down to the SVC. Then in 1975, the PICC approach was introduced. And at this point, CVC protocols of insertion, maintenance, and removal were already in place. Now, since PICC is technically a CVC, it ends at the superior vena cava, they just lumped the PICC approach and PICC procedures all into one category with the CVCs, and it's just been following that protocol ever since. So in 2015, the Patient Safety Authority of Pennsylvania published the article discussing PICC removals and their relationship to air embolisms. It's actually a good read, you should check it out. So cliff notes, any insertion sites above the heart have less pressure than atmosphere, and so that means that those veins in those sites are going to suck in material, aka air, more so than the arm, which in the arm it has higher pressure, which will push out blood. And that is because the entry point is usually lower than the heart. So if you follow that logic and you put someone in Trendelenburg when they have a mid-thigh, or especially a mid-thigh, but if you have a PICC line and that insertion site, that hole is higher than the heart, then you've just increased their risk for air embolism. But for the IJ, EJ, and axillary insertions, you do want them to be laying flat or Trendelenburg for the removals. Sidebar. So even though your insertion site for PICC line is lower than the heart, the catheter itself is above the heart in the SVC. So if you leave that exposed to air, let's say you're changing the lure lock and you forgot to unclamp, that is actually a really high risk for air embolism because the hole is up here, not down here, because of the catheter. But when you remove the catheter, that hole now becomes lower than the heart. And this is also why when you're laying the patient down and their arms are above their heart while you're inserting, you've increased their risk for air embolism during the insertion. So try to keep them lower if you can. So some of you are like, who the fuck cares? And I agree, because if you are applying a wet seal with pressure immediately after that catheter has left that hole, none of this really matters because you're actually going to be blocking any airway anyways. So moral of the story, just put a wet seal on, apply some pressure, and airtight that tegaderm before you leave. I took that picture. Follow me for more tips and tricks.